I'm going to teach you how to sound like this on Bandlab.
You can download this preset, link in the description or the pinned comment.
This is an example of how the preset's gonna sound. Download it now, link in the description. Before we begin, if you like this vocal preset and want to download it for yourself, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description or the pinned comment. But without further ado, let's get on to the tutorial. The first thing I did was the EQ, and what I did was I didn't touch the lows. The mids, I put them at -2.1 decibels. The mid sweep at 584 hertz. And for the highs, I only really boosted it by 0.3 decibels. Then I added another EQ. For this one, I added a little more detail. So in the 100 hertz category, I put -4.4 decibels. At the 200 hertz, I put 2 decibels. 400 hertz, I put 2.2 decibels. At 800 hertz, I put 2.4 decibels. At 1.6K, I put only 0.6, and I didn't touch anything else. Left it at 0. The de-esser, I put the frequency at 9,000 with a threshold of -1.8 decibels. This helps combat the really sharp and harsh S sound that'll appear in your mix often. Then for the compressor, I used the FBK compressor. I put an attack of 1 millisecond, a release of 373 milliseconds, threshold of 5.9, ratio of A to 1, and a makeup gain of 7.1 to make up for the reduction in volume after cutting a lot of the dynamic. Add a noise gate. So I put the attack at 1 millisecond, the release at 100 milliseconds, and the threshold at -32.6 decibels. So this next thing I added is technically optional, although I do feel like if you're smart as a producer, you can utilize it to make the song sound much more interesting in certain parts. It's more so a sort of filter thing to either add a high pass or a low pass filter to it. And what we want to do with this is create essentially a radio sound effect, have your voice sound more tinny and thin. X uses it in songs like Carry On, for instance. And so the settings I put for it essentially were just a high pass of 800 hertz, having the frequency thing at around 5,000 hertz in order to boost it by 16 decibels. The width I put it at 3.27, and the low pass I put it at 1,400. And then finally I added very little spring reverb. I use spring because it's typically considered a cheaper sort of reverb sound, which works in XXXTENTACION's lo-fi style. I put it in the UK setting and I put the amount at 5.2%, so very little. And that's how you get an XXXTENTACION vocal preset on Bandlab. Now again, if you liked this vocal preset and want to download it for yourself, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description or the pinned comment. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more tutorials like this. I do it on Bandlab, FL Studio, Ableton, Logic, you name it. Make sure to comment below what other tutorials you want me to do. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.